My TicWatch Pro died before I had a chance to upgrade to the Pixel Watch that was recently announced at Google I/O and scheduled to launch this autumn. However, despite thinking I could wait it out, I found that I was continuously checking my now empty wrist for the time and notifications. To fill the gap, I chose the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 as it had just gone on sale in anticipation of the Galaxy Watch 5 launch later this year. But my main motivation was the Galaxy Watch 4 was the first Samsung watch in the series to go back to Android Wear OS, albeit with some Samsung tweaks. In this video, I talk about my experiences upgrading to the Galaxy Watch 4 and how pleasantly surprised I am using it as a Pixel phone enthusiast. I'm a big fan of the pure Android ecosystem and have avoided buying third-party phone brands for a number of years now. I want the latest Android updates and exclusive features as soon as possible, and I find I often dislike the third-party UI tweaks and bloatware apps of other phones. I've most recently worked my way through the Pixel 2, Pixel 3, Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 5 and now Pixel 6 Pro. I did have a couple of detours with LG and Huawei, but ultimately came back to my spiritual home with Pixel. However, when it came to my watch, there was no option for a similarly unadulterated Android device. Only third-party manufacturers were making Android watches. As a result, my first foray into owning a smartwatch was a Samsung Gear Live back in 2014, which did feature an early version of Android Wear. However, when my Gear Live finally kicked the bucket, options were limited. Unfortunately, at this time, Samsung had moved on to using their own operating system called Tizen, so buying another Samsung watch was not an option for me. In the end, I decided to go with the TicWatch Pro, and my main criteria was that it was close to pure Android Wear OS as possible. TicWatch was manufactured by Mobvoi, a company founded by some ex-Googlers, so I was pleased with my compromise in that it was almost as good as if Google had launched their own watch. The TicWatch Pro and I had a good run, but 4 years later the watch started to fail me. It suffered from random shutdowns and the inability to even turn the watch back on. With the TicWatch Pro relegated to my drawer of tech junk, I was now bereft of a smart timepiece for a few months, until I could secure a Pixel watch. So I decided to take a leap back into the now much busier Android smartwatch market. After some research and a conveniently timed price drop, I picked up a silver Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 44mm version. Now that Samsung had emerged from the Tizen wilderness and returned to the Wear OS fold, I was excited to experience the marriage of top-tier hardware with a true vision for Android on smartwatches. First impressions of the device are very positive thanks to the quality of the hardware. The watch is light, but the metal and glass materials are pleasant to the eye and touch. The flat screen is very impressive aesthetically and is attractively classed by the equally pleasing aluminium body. I was initially worried the watch strap that came with it might feel cheap, but the soft rubber is actually very nice to handle and place on the wrist. The strap even features a nice little innovation I haven't seen before, where the excess strap slides underneath the buckle. I was really impressed with this little touch after years of continually catching the flappy excess of my TicWatch Pro strap on my pockets and sleeve shirts. Another nice touch is the strap is a standard 44mm width and can be replaced with any compatible aftermarket watch strap. The screen brightness and contrast are excellent even in bright sunlight by default, and there's always the option to increase the brightness further manually. Talking of which, the Galaxy Watch 4 features a capacitive touch dial around the outer rim of the watch bezel for fine control when scrolling through apps, which can be pretty useful. One design feature I'm a fan of are the big tactile physical home and back key. The home key doubles up as your power button that can also be programmed with different functions and apps in the settings. For my setup, I've set Google Pay with a double press and Google Assistant via a long press. The watch is also IP68 rated for submersion up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes or less. The fitness app includes swimming as an activity, so you can be secure in the knowledge that you're not going to balk the phone through water damage. One related feature you have for swimming is to turn off the screen while the watch is in the water to avoid errant inputs. The final piece of kit is the charger cradle. The watch doesn't come with the requisite brick, but the USB-A cable will connect with any suitable 5V power supply. As a final nice feature, the watch also supports wireless power sharing, so you can charge your watch using a Samsung phone by placing it on the back. Unfortunately, it didn't work with my Pixel 6 Pro. One idiosyncratic feature of the Galaxy Watch 4 is that while the device does use Wear OS 3.0, Samsung have tweaked it by adding a software overlay called One UI. It's an additional layer of software functionality to enable Samsung devices to work together more seamlessly. However, having said that, the main user experience uses the standard array of swipes to navigate around the watch and apps. From the main watch face, swiping left navigates through the tiles. These are dedicated displays by app you can set up for your most important information. Swiping right will navigate to the notifications area for your phone apps. Swiping down will give you access to Quick Panel, which is the equivalent of your Shade UI on your phone, for quick access to some of the main device settings. And finally, swiping up will open the app drawer for all of your installed watch apps. When setting up the watch, you'll have to install the Galaxy Wearable app, which gives you access to edit all of the same areas for your convenience, but on your phone. This brings us to one of the major features of the watch, which is the customizable faces. There are a number of cool looking options already pre-installed, and you can also download more to really tailor your watch aesthetic to match your preferences. The watch also enables you to use physical gestures to interact with your watch, so for instance, you can flick your wrist to answer calls, or twist your arm to decline a call. One of the consistent functions of smartwatches today is the tie-in to tracking and logging your fitness activities. The Galaxy Watch 4 includes electrical biosensors and also an optical heart rate sensor. Combining the hardware and the app, Samsung Health purports to track daily activities, steps, exercise, sleep and heart health. Not all of the features are available to non-Samsung phone owners. Functions like the ECG mode only work with a compatible Samsung phone. Also, the suite of health apps also brings me to one of the bigger issues I have with Samsung devices. Much like iPhones, both brands include a lot of bloatware apps that you can't delete, which I'll talk about more later in this video. Having said that, one feature I really do like is the automated activity tracking afforded by the Samsung Health app on the watch. The way it works is that using the sensors and motion of the watch, the app will notify you if it has detected above resting state physical activity and propose it starts tracking the session. This is a really convenient feature for health enthusiasts who now no longer need to remember to turn on their tracking to start recording data to measure progress. Another really nice touch is the Samsung Health app will also verbally announce milestones during a session. For instance, when I'm walking with my kids to school, at the 1 kilometer mark it will read through my current biometric stats as well as the distance and steps covered. My overall impression of the Galaxy Watch 4 is very positive. Coming from an older generation of smartwatch with the TicWatch Pro, the first thing that strikes me about this latest generation is the speed of the device. The interactions are way faster and more responsive thanks to the evolution of the hardware and the software over the last 4 years. I'm also loving the fact I can have audible notifications for my apps rather than just vibrations. It's not for everyone, but the inclusion of sound notifications on my watch further frees me up from having to constantly carry around my phone. I'm also a big fan of the aforementioned automatic workout tracking and audible updates. They are simple additions but actually improve the quality of my life in small ways. While we're talking about audio, it's a really nice feature even on the non-LTE version of the Galaxy Watch 4 to be able to have phone calls on your wrist.
While you won't want to use it for particularly important calls, it's fine for quick calls with your partner where clarity isn't a priority. The audio is not so great in noisy environments, but in a quiet environment, the audio is more than sufficient.
The level of customization is also impressive. As well as being able to choose from a comprehensive number of different watch faces for your personal style, you can edit some displays even further. Some watch faces include what Samsung has labelled complications, but are essentially small widgets. For instance, on my current favourite watch face, I can change the top and bottom widgets to display battery levels, weather, dates, fitness metrics and more. Other watch faces feature varying amounts of similar customization, but what is apparent is the vast array of fun options that you can use to tailor your watch to exactly how you want. You can even select the My Style watch face, take a photo of anything from your favourite picture to your current outfit, and choose the watch face palette to match. In terms of battery life, the watch is a little hungry with a high quality screen and Bluetooth connectivity running continually. The battery size for this 44mm model is a tiny 361mAh. I use my watch from 7 AM to 11 PM each day, and when I return it to its cradle to charge, it's usually around 40% remaining. On that performance, I think you could last around a day and a half of normal operation. One key setting I've turned on is to have the screen off for most of the time unless I twist my wrist to view it. After all, I'm really only going to need to view the screen when I want some information or want to tell the time. I imagine if you had the screen on all the time, the battery would run down a lot faster. You can of course tweak the display settings to reduce the brightness or decrease the screen timeout to further improve battery life. But ultimately, this is a watch that's meant to be plugged in at the end of the day, in my opinion. This will not be ideal for users interested in sleep monitoring functions, measuring your heart rate and your movement, but for those users, you'll just have to find time in your schedule to recharge the device, which takes just under 2 hours. Another little feature I like is that your phone will get a notification when the watch is fully charged. By the way, as a side note, if you have a wireless charging station for your watch, a nice little touch is the watch face rotates automatically so you can continue to use the watch like an alarm clock on your bedside. Other nice features include the ability to connect your watch to Wi-Fi in your home. It means if you happen to leave your phone beyond a functioning Bluetooth range in another part of the house, it'll still receive updates. One more niche feature that I enjoy is the camera app. The app has been available for a while in one form or another, but the better hardware on the Watch 4 means that it's way more useful. The refresh rate on the watch provides a clearer and more reliable monitor for viewing your phone's camera remotely. Now with the Galaxy Watch 4 powering the camera app, it's an ideal companion for when you want to set up your camera for selfies or for tripod work where stability is paramount. It has to be said, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 feels like the first real extension of my phone. For me personally, it's now at a point where, even as a heavy smartphone user, I'm confident in leaving my phone in another room. I won't miss important or relevant updates while still having the ability to interact with them. It's really quite liberating. Using the Galaxy Watch 4 hasn't come without its issues, and I've experienced a few bugs so far. The first one, on setting up my Google account, was related to the calendar. I was showing double entries in the watch calendar, which according to various posts online was a known issue. Unfortunately, the only solution was to reset the watch and start the setup process again, which was somewhat annoying. However, my biggest issue with the watch is not related to bugs, it's Samsung bloatware. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm a convert to only wanting the pure Android experience. Unfortunately, just like Samsung and most other phone manufacturers, their devices come with a number of bloatware apps you can't remove, which clutters up my app tray. Apps like Samsung Health, Samsung Pay and Bixby are permanently installed on the watch. This is especially annoying as a Pixel 6 Pro user where Samsung Health Monitor won't even work without a Samsung phone. For those users who use other brands of phones, Samsung should include the ability for the users to purge the unwanted apps. Bloatware issues aside, thankfully you're not locked into using the Samsung App Store. As a Pixel phone enthusiast, a lot of your favourite native Android apps are available for download and to install on your watch. If you're looking to try and refine your Galaxy Watch 4 to be closer to a pure Pixel experience, there are a number of apps you can use. Instead of Samsung Pay, you can download Google Pay and even attribute it to the home button for ease of access. Instead of Bixby, Google Assistant is now available after a recent update, which means you no longer have to fight with Samsung's own AI, which has less than a stellar reputation. Instead of Samsung's clunky phone keypad, download and install Gboard. Gboard not only gives you a full keyboard, but also swipe to type, which is eminently easier to use even on a small screen. Finally, anyone coming from a Pixel phone with an interest in health tracking is more likely to be using Google Fit. Unfortunately, there's no interoperability between Samsung's app and Fit. So for that reason, I downloaded and installed a third-party app called HealthSync, which acts like a go-between translating data from Samsung's app to something that you can use on Google Fit instead. It's great for steps and heart rate tracking, but there is no proxy for heart points in Samsung's app, so that data remains blank in Google Fit. It's a compromise that I'm personally willing to live with for the time being, but might not be for everyone. Overall, I really like the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. The hardware is great, and the fact that Samsung is using WearOS as the foundation of the user interface makes this an appealing option for Pixel enthusiasts like myself. It would be nice if you could delete the Samsung bloatware, but it's not a deal breaker, just irritating. It's going to be a great stopgap until I can get my hands on the Pixel Watch later this year, and if I don't like the Pixel Watch, I could see myself coming back to the Galaxy Watch 4. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on the connected home and personal technology.